Let's imagine you have a scene with multiple characters. It's quite heavy, full of modifiers, grass, and the viewport overlay is so cluttered with controls that you can barely see the model. During playback, the FPS drops to 9. Now, I'll enable a couple of things here and here. Watch what happens when I press play. Suddenly, the FPS jumps to 30. Simplified versions of the models activate, the overlays disappear, and you can actually see what's going on. The moment I stop playback, everything switches back. And if I switch to render preview, the full quality versions load up with all the fur and every modifier active. But here's the clever part. Even in render preview, if I scrub the timeline, it automatically swaps back to the lightweight version for smooth playback, then restores the high quality model when I stop. And this is Smart Simplify Pro. Let's see how to set it up. As with any good Blender tutorial, let's start from deleting. I'll delete the existing LOD setup here to avoid confusion and build the system from scratch. The add-on looks at your active object and finds all the parent collections it belongs to. In this case, it's just one. A single LOD isn't a system yet, so I'll add a second one by clicking the plus button. So this second LOD will be for posing the character. Let's disable the hair systems here. They're extremely heavy. The table shows that certain modifiers are also performance hogs, taking over 10 milliseconds to process each. I'll disable those as well. If you don't see the timings, make sure that auto sync is enabled and time overlay is on. Now let's create a third LOD. I'll click the plus button again, which will create a new level based on current selected and rename it to playback. This playback LOD is for the final animation check, where we need maximum responsiveness. So I disable almost all modifiers, leaving only the absolute essentials. I'll also keep the mirror modifier active, because without it, the model's symmetry would break. If you select a row in Enabled Object and Modifiers list, it also selects the corresponding object or modifier in the 3D viewport. This modifier is wrong, let's delete it. Now the list is out of sync. To fix this, I'll enable autosync. Alternatively, you can do a one-time manual sync from this menu. Let's set up the automation rules. I already have mine configured, but here's how it works. You just click switcher icon over LOD that you want to enable on playback or render mode. By the way, there are many more switchers available here. You can enable them as needed for different workflows, like switching LODs based on the viewport shading mode or when an object is deselected. Finally, I'll select the middle one. This will be our default LOD for general work like posing. Now in the main scene, I'll select the character. You'll notice a message appears, telling me I need to create a full library override for this linked asset. Let's click that button. You can see the icon in the outliner has now changed color, confirming the override is active. Next, let's set up LODs for the environment as well. My environment is organized into two main collections. To config LOD, you should select any object from collection. Make sure that you are creating LOD system in correct collection. You can set any amount of LODs in different scenarios for each collection. I've discovered an object that was hidden from the start and isn't needed at all. While I could delete it, I want to show you the rendered overlay in the table. This icon indicates which objects or modifiers are disabled for the final render. These could be proxy objects that replace heavy geometry, for example. It's a good reference. Let's test the system. During playback, the character's LOD isn't switching. That's because its playback LOD is already selected. I set it to correct one. As you can see, everything is now working seamlessly. Setup is complete. Finally, let's take a quick look at the scene-wide setters section. Remember, switchers can do more than just control collections. They can automatically toggle viewport-wide settings that aren't tied to any specific object. For instance, you can set it to hide bones during animation playback or enable passepartout on all cameras when you press the E key switcher. This completes the environment and finalizes our global automation setup.